All right, our second story out front. Put up or shut up. That's again a quote from Mitt Romney. He said it for a second time to Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid over accusations that he hasn't paid taxes in a decade.
Harry Reid really has to put up or shut up, all right? So, Harry, who are your sources?
Senator Reid says his source is an investor at Mitt Romney's former firm, Bain Capital. The two men have been engaged in a war of words over Romney's decision to not release more than 2 years of tax returns. Senator Reid is not backing down either.
The word's out that he hasn't paid any taxes for 10 years. Let him prove that he has paid taxes, because he hasn't.
All right, today Mitt Romney denied the allegations again, as you saw. Political analyst Roland Martin has been following this story for us. He's out front, along with National Review senior editor Ramesh Ponnuru. Good to see both of you. Appreciate it. Roland, you know, Mitt Romney has said, look, I've paid taxes every single year. Anyone saying anything to the contrary is wrong, the put up or shut up. But Senator Reid is not backing down. Why?
Again, because what they want to do is to force Mitt Romney to own up to these potential tax shelters, to reveal the information. And so remember, his dad set the precedent when he released 12 years of tax returns. And so Romney is trying to get away with a couple of years because he doesn't want the scrutiny. And so Reid has jacked up the pressure by throwing this out there, and it certainly has caught the attention of the Romney campaign.
Ramesh, I mean, we've gotten to a point now where even if Mitt Romney were to say, you know what, I am really, really angry, but the way to stop all this is to prove all of you wrong. So here's my thousands of pages. And, you know, but can he not put his taxes out now without looking bad?
Well, I think it would look weak, and it wouldn't solve anything, because you put out 2 more years of tax returns. All of the same critics immediately say, well, why not 3? Why not 4? What's he hiding? They will never be satisfied. And so I think that Romney thinks this is just a political diversion. This is a strategy based on the idea that we're going to get people scared about something in Romney's tax returns, and they're not going to focus on the economy, which I think is an absurd strategy that's not going to work.
So what do you think the bottom line is, Ramesh? I mean, in a perfect world, Mitt Romney would have done what?
Well, look, I think I was in favor of his releasing more, but at the same time, I think this is a trivial issue, and I sympathize with his attempt to just brush off people who are not making good faith demands on him. And in the case of Harry Reid, are telling flatly unbelievable and evolving stories.
Was this actually was it trivial when Newt Gingrich said release it back in the Republican primary? Was it trivial?
Yes, of course it was a trivial.
But here's the deal.
Yeah, of course it was trivial.
Here's the deal. You have a number of conservatives who have been on the record the last 2 or 3 weeks saying, look, release the taxes, because what you do not want, you don't want to go into August and September and October with the same questions. That's why in politics they say get it out of the way early. And so you have Romney. And look, here's the other piece, Erin. We're talking about getting rid of these tax loopholes in terms of that the rich take advantage of. And so what Democrats are trying to do, they're trying to say, all right, Mitt, did you actually take advantage of this? You know, what was your tax rate? And so it's a dance. Is it a policy dance? No, but it certainly is a political one. That the GOP will be doing the exact same thing if the shoe was on the other foot, and we know it.
That is true.
It's interesting that Roland is not defending Harry Reid's tactics of making these unsubstantiated charges, changing the charges as he goes along, and then saying it's up to Romney to prove that the charges aren't accurate, all the while not releasing his own tax returns.
Well, actually, it sounds like, you know, it sounds like Donald Trump, who's beloved by the GOP when it came to the birth certificate, even though we actually saw one that was released. Again, this is an attempt to drive Romney's negatives up and to also cast doubt on him in terms of his truthfulness. That's exactly what this is all about. It's called politics, and it's called big boy politics, and you got to play it.
I mean, it is ugly, though, Ramesh. I mean, right?
Well,
I mean,
part of the way
for him to say something,
politics,
if it's not true, if he doesn't have a source that's a legitimate source, it is a pretty horrific allegation to
Well,
make.
remember, Reid says first a Bain investor somehow knows Romney's tax returns, which is hard to believe in itself, and told him about it. Now he says
it could have been a senior partner, right? Senior partner who was aware of some of the tax shelters.
Hold on. Now he's saying that a number of people have told him this. A number of people, which he didn't say the other day. He somehow forgot to mention he had multiple sources. I think he's just making this up.
Well, there's one way to find out, and that is Mitt Romney release about 5 years of tax returns, and we'll see. Or follow
is this the new standard?
One second. No, actually, the standard is the one his dad set. Release 12. His dad was the first candidate to do it. So like father, like son.
You accept you can just make any charge and say anyone in public life, prove that I'm wrong? Is that a standard you can live with yourself?
Well, actually, it's a standard that the
Is that
GOP,
a standard? Harry Reid hasn't.
One second.
You know what? Harry Reid isn't paying taxes.
Okay. Ask a question, then I'll give the answer. It's very simple. It is the standard that many folks on the GOP side used for 3 years when it came to a certain birth certificate. All I'm simply saying is this here. Mitt Romney used the same standard your dad used. Is that fair?
And at the time, did you accept
Roland
this
raises, you know what, Roland, you were sort of losing me, but when you make the point about the GOP did it over the birth certificate, Ramesh, they did.
And what did Roland say about that demand at the time? Did he say this is perfectly reasonable, or is he switching standards?
He may have taken your side completely, but his guy ended up having to fork it over.
I said at the time the birth certificate thing was ridiculous, and I'm saying this thing is ridiculous too. It is an attempt to distract people from the actual issues in this election.
And like I said, Erin,
everybody understands that if the party labels were reversed, as Roland pointed out, there's not a single Democrat or liberal pundit who would be defending this below-the-belt tactic on the part of Harry Reid.
And that's politics. The bottom line is, if the shoe was reversed,
So
I guarantee you the National Review and the GOP will be all over the Democrats saying, release your taxes.
The National Review said that Romney should release his taxes.
Okay.
That doesn't make this not a McCarthyite low blow on the part of Harry Reid. You've got to call these things as you see them, not just be a political hack for your team, Roland.
No, first of all, I do, and I'm calling this politics. And when you play big boy politics,
is that what you said about the birth certificate? Oh, this is just politics? This is just big boy politics? I don't believe it.
Well, Ramesh,
I don't believe that's what you said at the time.
Ramesh, I'm curious.
And you're not even saying you did.
Ramesh, I'm curious, though. I mean, so say you're totally right. It's nasty, it's silly, it's stupid, it shouldn't have happened. But then it did. And sometimes then you just have to lay things to rest. You got to go out and say, well, here's what it is, even though you're in the right.
Or you can say, look, Harry Reid is making baseless allegations in bad faith. I don't think there is a single voter in America who is going to change his mind about who to vote for president on the basis of what may or may not be in tax returns. If voters want to hold that against me, fine. Let's move on. If you want to side with Harry Reid, McCarthyite lies, fine. If not, I've said what I'm saying on this.
Had Mitt Romney done what he's supposed to do back in March, guess what, Erin? We wouldn't even be having this conversation.
We wouldn't. But you know what? It was a very enjoyable one for both of you. Thank you.